as with the last place you're in, this place is warded. A lot of places in this city have some kind of basic warding. You also notice signs that specifically there is warding against listening ears and peering eyes on the living room. When you see signs there might be another room in the house that seems to be a little better protected. Good way to keep conversations private. So there's this little bookshelf that has a lot of books that appear to be decorative, but you catch signs that some of those decorative books might contain actual magical books and grimoires. Or else it's better to hide them than hide them in plain sight. In odd 10+, your insight reveals much about these circles' politics and schemes. When you notice about the grimoires, you just kind of like drift a little closer to the bookshelves and you see papers sticking out that seem to be maybe in some sort of cipher. Could be private communications or some kind of shorthand. You catch signs that people from other factions may have been here recently, possibly, and you've already seen someone, a wolf here. And also there's like a little desk in the corner and you walk by and you see there's this notebook that was left open. And on it, you see notes where it seems someone has been kind of keeping track of shifting loyalties between certain people, and it looks like someone's been trying to figure out how the stranger got a hold of certain people's allegiances. As well as there's an interesting book you notice. It appears to be a book of laws, but specifically bylaws applying to Oak Ridge. And when no one's looking, you kind of flip open to where one of the tabs are, and it's a lot of, they seem to be specifically focusing on legal routes to quickly transfer, like, authoritative power from one individual to another, and it looks like they're not just trying to get it from, like, the wizards over to one person, but as you flip through and you look through the notes, you see it looks like there might have been positioning a couple of people to shift into a new power structure. And it looks like they've been just getting the pieces into place. And it also looks like they're not just moving wizards into place, because the wizards have run this city for a while. But it seems that some of them think it's time that other people got a chance to sit at the table. Also, most of the old men suck.
Okay. She'll eventually take a seat in one of the individual chairs. She feels quite at ease now.
I picture you were just, like, subtly paging through while Lisa was like, hey, it was like getting people, like, drinks and water and stuff and so forth. So you were able to do that and didn't pull a lot of attention.
I'm sure Millie is probably chattering about the drapes and look at all these books and what a great sign of, like, an intelligent person, and lots of flattery.
He's just kind of nodding. He looks tired, but he's just kind of nodding along, like he understands you're being nice and he appreciates it, but also he's just...
I have that effect on people.
His mind's a little somewhere else.
I do tend to make people exhausted, yes.
Alright, so you're the one that invited us here, so why don't you start? Once they're all seated.
Yeah, I think you're probably, like, one of the last ones to sit down. I don't know if maybe, like, Windward or Isabel also kind of walk around and poke around a bit to not draw a lot of attention. I'm getting a no from Windward, but a yes from Isabel.
Oh no, sits down more or less immediately.
Yeah, Isabel would poke around a little bit.
Yeah. Lisa will bring bottled water or the Coke to anyone who wants something to drink. Nothing super fancy, but your guess, basic Southern hospitality. Do you need anything to drink? Do I need to feed you?
Windward gets a Coke and then holds it up to their ear and listens to it as she opens it. and it's like there's that crack and hiss, and they take a deep sigh and say, always refreshing, and then set the Coke on the table.
Wonderful.
I was made aware that at least a few of you have been asking questions about the stranger and some of the other weird things going on in town. I figured might be useful to gain more allies.
Well, it is always wonderful to have additional friends, Theo.
Of course, so what do you all know so far?
That's a big question.
Let's narrow it down to about the stranger's influence in this town.
Well, he knows things he shouldn't.
He can get places he shouldn't.
Is occasionally invited places to where he shouldn't be. Looks meaningfully at Millie.
She hasn't invited him anywhere yet.
Listen, there is room for exactly one person inside of a pair of pants.
I would never let him borrow my pants. He would stretch them out.
What a travesty. That would true. Fair. Fair enough.
Theo looks only slightly baffled by the conversation.
Well, never mind.
If there's any time to be minding things, this might be the one.
Believe me, it's not that one.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Alright then.
Don't ever send her in to do any reconnaissance for you.
I did a great job.
You flirted with him and got his feckin' number. It's amazing you weren't made.
Well, she was amazingly successful. She did a great job. She got his number.
See?
What else are you supposed to do when you're flirting?
Exactly.
She wasn't supposed to be flirting.
But look, a whole new avenue of information. I think I did great.
Or a whole new avenue of potentially getting killed.
Okay, so what I'm gathering, you see you've been trying to get more information on him. You're aware of his weird foreknowledge of things.
And we know why he's got that knowledge.
Actually, you don't.
We have a theory, shut up.
I was gonna say,
They think they know.
meta knowledge your characters will never find out. It's because the in-between possessed Hawk in last season. Hawk was the fixer. He knows everyone's secrets, everyone's vices, and took that knowledge.
Okay, we don't know to that much detail, but we do know the broad picture of how he has that knowledge.
Yeah, he knows things that he shouldn't know, and I have no idea how he gained this knowledge, but he's been using it to blackmail anyone who won't just agree to whatever he asks them to do in order to get whatever it is that he's offering them. He somehow knows people's secret vices. And I haven't been able to figure out how, and I've been looking into trying to figure out what he is.
Well, he came from, best we can tell, another version of this reality.
I was hoping that wasn't going to be the explanation, but that was also the most logical thing I could think of that would make sense aside from being able to read people's minds, which is terrifying. 'Cause I'm not the only one who wants him out.
Far from it.
No, we could tell by some of your expressions that, yes, some of you did not wish to be around him and deal with him more than is required.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's some physical thing, a tether, that if we destroy, will weaken his hold on this plane of existence. And I know where he stays.
Well, to persuade an NPC.
Okie doke.
So you'll be rolling with heart.
Okay. Do I have to roll with heart?
If you have a movement, we'll let you roll something else.
Nope. I do not. We'll go ahead and roll it. What is my heart?
Oh, I thought that was in response to your roll. It's like, oof.
Yeah.
No, not yet.
Now it is, though.
Oh no.
Did you get snake eyes?
I did, and my heart is a 0. That's a 2.
It could be worse. Not in any meaningful way for this this game, but
I'm being completely honest, though.
You see this look in his eyes, he's looking at you while you're talking, and then there's like a glint of recognition, and then he starts to look vaguely suspicious. Because he is aware that you're a bit of investigator, reporter type person. I mean, something like that could be hidden anywhere. And I'm mostly concerned with maneuvering him out of his current position. But there's only so much that those of us who are against him can do.
what are the major obstacles that are at present preventing you from taking direct action?
Roll to figure someone out. I'll be rolling with 9.
Okay. That is at least a 9. 9 plus 1's 10. We're doing okay today.
On a hit, ask 2. On a 7 to 9, they ask you 1 as well. So he's not going to ask you 1. But
What is preventing you and your people from... You and the people who oppose the stranger from taking actions? What do you worry is going to happen?
Windward, you're more perceptive in some way than most when it comes to certain very specific things. And as you're looking at him and he shifts uncomfortably like he doesn't want to answer this question, you notice something. You don't sense any magic coming from him. Because wizards have this magic in and around them. There's nothing coming from him. You can feel like there's some around him, and whenever you've seen him just out and about in the store, you feel like there is magic coming from him, but sitting here now with none of his regalia on, you don't feel anything, and you have the realization of he may have lost whatever made him a wizard. But he's been hiding it.
Oh, Theodore. How many of you?
I'm the only one, at least with this particular problem. He's found other things, either sins from the past or, in some cases, sins committed by a loved one. And there's only so much you can do when he holds that over everyone's head with how much everyone listens to him.
And so you've given it up willingly?
I didn't give it up, I lost it. I lost it a while ago. I may never have even had it. But I've been doing what I can to make it look like I had, because I couldn't just leave the others in charge. You know how reckless they are.
Oh, yes. It's a real collection of bastards that you've gotten yourself involved with.
In my defense, they weren't this bad before the Grimoire, but it just brought out the worst in them.
Well, people say that power is corrupting, and in my experience, more often, power is revealing. I'm sorry that it's taken you this long to realize it, but, well, by and large, they were always bad. However, that is certainly a problem.
So you know, if any of the old men found out, he would be off, and then there'd be one less voice of reason on that council.
Yeah, and then they wouldn't have the entire Discworld rainbow. You can't have the rainbow without Octarine. Octarine's the color of magic. You can't be a magic rainbow with no Octarine in it. That's silly.
The irony that the one who's the color of magic lost his magic.
It's okay, only cats can see it.
Does anyone else want to say something while Dad figures out the next question? Because I think some of you would have been able to piece together context clues in that conversation.
Would Angel have?
I'm going to say, given your job,
and a mind of +2.
Yeah. You gathered some of the context clues. You got the gist of it, for sure. And some of the implications, because you don't know how many people he's blackmailing.
Yeah.
So, how did this happen? I mean, was it something the stranger did himself?
No, it wasn't him. I don't remember how long ago. It was sometime in the 60s. Not exactly sure what happened. We were still trying to figure out a lot of stuff with the Grimoire, and I tried to do a spell, and then it was just gone.
Well, it sounds like you're a marvelous actor. If you ever want to be on the stage.
But it didn't affect your immortality.
We've been using other means for that, and I'm kind of getting really bored with it. But I reiterate, I don't want to leave those other yahoos running this city.
Nobody does.
None of you have any power at all. It's all just the magic items. It's the possession of the objects. This is...
Oh no, some of them do have actual magic. It's just the immortality comes through different things.
Oh, are you sure? Have you checked? Have they demonstrated, absent their vestments, absent their objects? This is something that you know for sure?
I mean, I haven't seen them cast naked, but...
Probably for the best.
Yeah, no, that's something... Now that I say that, I can't get the image out of my head. Oh, that's... I'm just gonna try and forget about that. I've seen them do stuff that you can't really pull off with just magic items. Since I'm not in the limelight as much, I've been able to kind of get away with more of the subtler things through trinkets and even some of the stuff I buy from your shop, or I get people to buy for me because I don't want people asking too many questions.
Be that as it may, they do actually have... This is interesting, but I don't know that it's necessarily useful. You, as you know, don't have direct magical influence and have managed to maintain political influence at any rate, so whether or not their magic is innate or it is derived, your power and their power is nonetheless real.
You've got good pieces in place for this restructuring of power, and I think we can help with that.
He looks at you, Angel, as you say that, rather suspiciously, because how do you know that?
Alright, look, I'm good at what I do, okay? I don't know how much you know of me outside maybe the show. I don't know if you've even seen the show or heard the show. But I'm more than that.
Oh, I'm familiar with your work.
Which part of my work?
Your show, is there another part? I'm realizing now I may have judged you a little harshly to begin with, but given what I know...
There is another part of my work. I am sworn to a certain faction of immortals to solve their problems. And they want this restructuring of power as well. They don't like the old men, as they call them.
Theodore looks shocked when you say this.
Accepting that there's a couple good ones.
Yeah, hang on. Have I actually written down the names of the ones that are assholes? I don't remember.
Because there was Theodore, William Thompson, John Chambers were the three names I wrote down as being some of the blackmailed wizards.
Yeah.
Which I assume would be the not so bad ones if he has to blackmail them.
Yeah.
Well, and John Howe's not bad, he's just a lawyer.
There are lawyers that aren't vampires? I thought that was like a prerequisite of the job.
Oh, I've known of plenty of Fey lawyers. They are an interesting breed.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, that was said as both Theodore and Fey lawyer. Even if you have a rock solid case, you're gonna lose.
Quite possible.
Also, I'm pretty sure Rex Lawson's just a dude.
Yeah.
he's just a dude. Very good lawyer. Also a dick. A joke for 4 people.
He looks a little less suspicious of you, but also there's a lot of politics and things like this, so he's still a little bit unsure. Not like he thinks you're lying, but like he doesn't know what if you're not saying anything important. That's certainly interesting to know.
If I could give you more assurance, I would. Unfortunately, I don't particularly know much about those that I work for. I have one contact, and he's the one that I get most of my information through. They're rather secretive.
What are their goals?
Couldn't tell you.
And you work for them anyways?
I just do as I'm told. When I say I'm sworn, it was not entirely by choice. Oh, they said I had a choice. But I was a child.
I'm very sorry to hear that. That's,
Icky.
Yeah. I was going to say deeply unethical, but icky is a better...
It's succinct.
Do you have confidence that those are people that we want to be putting into power when we make our move?
I can't say that they have any personal invested interest in the specifics of who gets put in power. What I was able to gather from them is that they just want the old men ousted so that progress can resume, so that advancements can happen.
And you don't know what they are progressing towards?
Didn't give me any particular goals, but more so that in this particular area it's stagnated, they want that to stop. They want progress to continue here.
So we have at least that one collection of allies, and also perhaps another problem to sort out another day. Assuming that the world doesn't end between here and then. Oh, yes, Theo, by the way, did you know we're on a bit of a timer? Things are about to go rather bad in a rather short period of time, and so if you've got people in place and would like to have any chance of, even trying something just for the fun of it, upset a few apple carts and see where things land, the best time to do it would be, let's say today, or maybe tomorrow, but not the day after.
I would like you to roll to persuade an NPC. Rolling with heart.
That is a 5.
So, as you say that, Theodore just nods and says, we'll keep that in mind.
Well then.
Would it reassure you to know that there is another faction, Oak Ridge, that wouldn't mind the restructure of power as long as it is relatively peaceful?
It gives you a curious look. Depends which faction. If you have good score in heart, you can roll to persuade.
I mean, I have a +1, so that's not bad.
See if one of you can get the...
Yeah.
He's just super suspicious, okay? We're not shit, he's just ultra suspicious.
Okay, now which one of you...
can you blame him? He's been
No.
hiding things for so long, and then all of this starts happening? They were made, essentially, to force the cops in this area to shut down the investigation into what happened to Cass. He has reason to be suspicious.
I got an 8.
Hey!
Okay.
So, mixed success.
On 7 to 9, they counter your offer or demand payment in debt, favor, resources before agreeing to follow through.
Could we just get clarification on what you were persuading? What the ask was there?
I think she was building off of windwards you may want to move soon.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
He strokes his chin, looks at you, and says, well, we can move quickly, but you may need some help getting things into place. Also, if you would happen to have something with which I could conceal my condition, I'm gonna need something a little stronger than what I've been using recently if we're gonna make it through tomorrow. He needs a little bit stronger bullshit to hide the fact that he has no magic.
I mean, if Fae have nothing else, it's a lot of loopholes.
A lot of bullshit?
Yeah, that too. I will ask my employer, see what he says. I don't speak for him 100% of the time, so I will reach out to him. At this, Isabel will sort of reach out her phone and start texting.
Just start texting George. I'm curious, does it just say boss?
Yeah,
With a little dragon emoji next to it?
maybe. Yeah.
Most people think you just have like a really tough boss, but they don't realize.
Hey, boss, we got an extra vibes emitter lying around. I gotta,
Yeah. Have any extra...
What we need is one of those, Glade plug-in things, except it's, the smell of
Aura.
magic. Yeah,
It's aura.
Yeah.
Aura?
Yeah, so you text him asking that. He'll probably text back relatively quickly, because George is always quick to answer his phone, which is weird, but it's George. He can arrange for an amulet of sorts that will boost and work in tandem with other things.
Okay.
It may not work for very long, but it works pretty well. Might need recharging after a couple uses, but it'll do the job.
Okay. So I say to Theo, okay, so my boss is willing to loan an amulet that will work in tandem with other magical objects. It only has, let's say, a couple charges. It won't work very long before needing recharged, but it would help. If you choose your battles wisely.
If all goes according to plan, that should be enough. If all doesn't go according to plan, then it really won't matter. I'm not sure if you're all aware, as he just kind of like shifts posture and shifts tone, and so I'm not sure if you're aware, this hasn't been spread very wide yet, but there's going to be a memorial of sorts for the dearly departed Cassandra tomorrow, and we're expecting a large turnout, because it's not every day your Soul Oracle is brutally killed by some mysterious force. He pointedly does not say ghost, because that's bullshit.
Will a certain guest of honor be there?
I'm unsure. There'll be... think of a few people that will be missing, that they have other business to attend to, pieces to move into place, which, Angel, I'm gonna say, you clock that as with some of the stuff that you read in the law book, like putting things into effect to where the wizards don't do a thing by a certain time, it's just done and it happens. It could be interesting, it could be something worth skipping. Up to you. Depends on how you want to play your cards. But either way, I think there's going to be quite a few interesting events.
So, that's very good. Do you know, this might be a long shot, let's be honest, anything to do with the stranger's movements on a regular basis? Or any meetings that he's got in the upcoming days? Does he plan on attending tomorrow? That sort of thing.
I do believe he might be, at least for part of the festivities. There might be a portion for a speech, because it's going to be quite the event that's been put together in a very short amount of time. Lots of people scrambling to get things ready and so on and so forth. At this point, Lisa's come in and she's sitting in one of the chairs, or just whatever piece of furniture it has space. Got lots of people looking to do some celebrations of their own in honor of Cass and what happened.
Well, she does deserve it. That said, if you're looking for meetings that the stranger might have, or if we want to draw him away for any reason, I do have his number.
Let's hold off on that unless it becomes necessary after the event tomorrow. Marin. I don't suppose perchance you've seen through his glamour.
Have to say, when I lost most of my abilities, I lost that ability as well.
Right. He's not completely a stranger. The body isn't, anyway. He was a kid named Bart. Something, whatever came through between worlds or whatever, has possessed them.
That does explain some things. He's displayed some magical ability, and no one seems to agree on what he looks like.
Don't know if that changes any, but it might be leverage perhaps against him if... I'm not even sure if he cares about that. So much as just being seen positively. And power.
Well, if there's a way to separate him from his unwilling host, that would affect his power.
There was a spirit that used to hang around Bart that I saw on occasion when I met him. I haven't seen it. It's no longer around him, so I don't know if it was destroyed by whatever possessed him or fought off.
I mean, it's possible it's contained where Hawk and Darren's spirits are contained, since those have also been separated from the body. I mean, it's a little bit harder for the body to be unwilling if the spirit is not there, right?
Well, it's likely Bart's is, but I'm not sure about... I'm not even quite sure what it was. I never was able to ask. Yeah, but what it was.
That's a good question. I would have to go way back in my conversations with you.
I'm just assuming Angel doesn't know precisely what it was.
Probably not. I don't think Vehicante wanted Bart talking about that, so Bart didn't talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
Is there maybe a way to try to contact the spirit? Or...
That's precisely what I was thinking.
That wasn't an area of my expertise, but try and ask around to those that we can trust on things like this.
We do have a really haunted theater that Cass used to hang out in, specifically because of the ease of connecting with ghosts there, I believe.
The ease at which her benefactor could astrally project into this reality, but you don't know that, so...
She told me talking to ghosts. I took that at face value.
She might also talk to the ghost. I don't know.
Alright, so that's another route that we could look at if we can find somebody who's particularly good at that sort of thing.
Well, I mean, if we can find some sort of small artifact or even a story or some sort of piece of its substance, we might be able to find it.
Question... House that I followed him to was where Multi had the weird ping that wasn't precisely...
Yeah, like, it's like something happened that wasn't like something that they had seen before.
Right. And was it at the house or just, like, near the house?
It wasn't directly at the house, but with how smart you are, might have been somebody was walking to the house and a thing happened. It also happened at nighttime. And that caused, like, some sort of energy spike. And they didn't know what it was.
Alright, so... Assuming he goes to the festivities tomorrow, I won't be attending. I will be... Well, let's just put it bluntly, I'll be visiting his home.
Might be a good call. You can get information there. I don't think he would have been keeping it there, though. Keeping important things there, especially if, as you said, he's been stealing souls. You need something pretty powerful to keep those from going back to where they belong most of the time.
Perhaps not, but it is probably where he came into this reality. Or, at the very least, assuming many assumptions are happening here, there's readings from another organization that's been tracking these, they call them anomalies, because they don't belong here, naturally. And they detected something near that house that I am assuming that was perhaps where Vehegante fought for Bart. Because it wasn't precisely an anomaly. but something completely new. So if I could find some traces of that, or perhaps Vehegante, something.
I don't know how I can help you with that, but if you're looking for the things he took, or you mentioned something about a tether earlier, my bet is it's in the vault in the lab.
Is the vault something only he has access to, or is it specific high-ranking wizards as well?
Most of the crap. What are they called?
Old men.
No, they've got their own bullshit name for themselves.
They have the most pretentious name.
Fuck, what was it?
Societas.
Yeah, go ahead.
Societas Sacratus Sonorium.
Sonorium. I think you would probably just call it the Societist.
It's only accessible to the higher ranking members of the Societas, but I've seen him go inside and he's put stuff in there.
So let me guess. All of those higher ranking ones that you mentioned are all the loyal ones to him.
Yeah. They're also why I haven't been able to retire, because knowing them, they'll try and actually mix magic with a nuclear reaction. They've tried to do that a couple of times.
I was about to say, I'm shocked that they haven't done it already.
I've been able to make sure that didn't go through.
Well, thank you for your service. Maybe keep doing that.
Just remember to keep an eye out. Things might get dicey tomorrow.
Do you know how the vault is accessed?
I don't know. I've never been able to access it. They make it pretty hard to get into.
Fair. Alright.
The security measures for this vault, would you say that they would be weaker during this celebration? Or no matter what the time and day, they will be the same? Like, is it people guarding them?
You usually do have a guard. It's a mixture of magical and mundane. That's where they keep the grimoires. The grimoire is what showed up in the woods one day back in the 50s, and that is what unlocked magic in this city, as well as several other very potentially volatile, very well-kept secrets. But yeah, it's difficult to get into.
And probably not something we could just maybe stab one of them and take their keys.
Lisa pipes up. I mean, most of the security's pretty on the up and up, so please don't stab my coworkers.
Wasn't planning to.
My employers frown on collateral damage.
That's a good sign, but I may be able to talk to some people, or you can try talking to people.
I hardly think that John Stratton qualifies as collateral anything.
Y'all have learned a lot in a short period of time. But just because I am a sucker for dramatic endings, as you are talking, we've had to move carefully, and y'all probably should leave soon. I don't know how carefully I'm being watched right now, but if tomorrow doesn't go well, it might not end well for anybody. And that's when you hear howling outside.
It tends to be better if you not say such things.
Tempest Multi is a production of Pseudonym Social, changing reality one story at a time. It is an actual play podcast using Urban Shadow's 2E Quick Start Guide, and it's set once again in the town of Oak Ridge, Tennessee. I am your keeper and producer.
My name is Zadkiel, or just Zad. In this game, I am going to be playing Windward Pudge, and they are using the Imp playbook.
Hi there, I'm Maria Perry. I'm playing Millie Elza, your local vampy vampire.
I am Ava Rogers.
I will be playing
Angel Day. Be sworn.
To get more information on this or any of our other shows, check out our website at pseudonymsocial.com.